Good afternoon. I'm Andy Abrams. It's my honor to serve as the Dean of the Charleston School of Law, and it's my distinct pleasure to welcome each of you to today's ceremony. Today we celebrate the 14th graduating class of the Charleston School of Law, and I'm very proud to have each of you here with us today. Members of the class of 2020, obviously this is your special day. There are, of course, others who celebrate your graduation from law school, and it's my pleasure to recognize them now. The Charleston School of Law Association, Alumni Association, the law school administrative staff who have gone to such great lengths to assist you in your journey, members of our exceptional faculty, including our adjunct faculty. There is no more committed, no more dedicated faculty anywhere than the faculty of the Charleston School of Law. And finally, the families who have supported and encouraged you graduates during your 3 years in law school. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you the man who, through his courage and his vision, has in many ways made this day possible, our president, our leader, our friend, Mr. Ed Bell.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Charleston School of Law, it is my honor to welcome this graduating class, their families, and their friends to graduation. This celebration of achievement, a milestone that is unique and will never be repeated again. Graduation from law school is a tremendous accomplishment. I am proud to share this moment with all of you. Today marks the culmination of your legal education, and it was with no little effort and perseverance from you. This is the first virtual graduation that we have experienced, and I know how disappointed that you are unable at this time to walk. With the disappointment in your pocket, I know you will find a way to make it an opportunity for you and your family. Just think, one day you may be interviewed to ask, what was it like to graduate in 2020? You may actually become a TV celebrity. All kidding aside, we hope you will choose to walk in December with the next class. We will make sure that you are distinguished from the other class because you are a distinct group of graduates, and we know that. I know you remember when you started law school, I talked with many of you. I was intrigued by the passion and belief that you had in this school. In just a few short years, this law school has risen in prominence nationally. You are what has made this school so successful. Thank you for the confidence that you placed in us. I know you're sitting there and most of you are asking, what is next? My life as I know it is now over. And you are wondering, how will my life be different tomorrow when I wake up? What will be my perspective? Will I think differently? Am I really smarter? Some even will ask, like I did I really do this? How would they let me graduate? Am I able to be what is expected of me? The age-old question that haunts everyone when they begin a new life is, what is next? Can I handle the next stage of my life? The answer is simple. Yes, you can. And you have proven that by being able to graduate from this great school. Planning for your future is the easiest right now. You will never have less obligations. Life will get more complex, more complicated. So now is a good time to consider a few of life's lessons. While there are many, and I will only mention a few to get you started. Great work only comes from those who do work that they love. Let me repeat that. Great work only comes from those who do work that they love. Don't mess up in this area. There is something about passion that drives excellence. Your inner self will help guide you to make sure your focus is on helping others first. And if that is your focus, the other things in life will fall in place. Next, however, might be the most important. Always keep your integrity. Integrity is one of the fundamental values that defines ourselves. It is the hallmark of a person who demonstrates sound moral and ethical principles. Integrity is a foundation on which we build trust and effective relationships. If I could speak to only one value by which we should live, it would be this: integrity is forever. Integrity means doing the right thing at all times and in all circumstances, whether or not anyone is watching. Courage is an important part of integrity, since sometimes it takes courage to do the right thing. Avoid those who are not trustworthy. Do not do business with them or make excuses for them. Your integrity is that important. Integrity in life keeps the soul righteous and the moral compass calibrated. Uphold and fight for our profession. We are an honorable group, so stand up for our profession. Please allow me to make a suggestion. Be open to a possible change in direction. This is a moment in time that will never be repeated. You may have plans for the immediate future, but you may wish to think about something entirely different. Maybe take a break, a gap year or two, and do something not planned. Maybe take a little time to do something that you never thought of doing before. Do some charity work. Take a mission trip. Work in the inner city and help those in need. Join the Peace Corps. Take care of your older grandparent. Work in a political campaign. You will find that special person inside of you that has passion for helping your neighbor and those less fortunate than you. You will learn to pair that passion with kindness and a sincere desire to make life better for others. You may also have the chance to be a troublemaker. Go have some fun while doing something that you never dreamed of doing. And when you are finished, start your life with your law degree with the purpose of making this world a better place. Fight for justice. Fight for equality for everyone. And create a better world for everyone while doing so. Are you equipped to resolve the most pressing issues? Were you trained to take on these responsibilities? Of course you are. You're graduating from the Charleston School of Law. I will keep up with you as you go forward and ask you from time to time how you are doing. I will also be interested in how you are making a difference. Are you a beacon of hope to those who need someone to help them have hope? Did you defend the poor just as you defended the rich? Did you speak for those who have no voice? Have you kept your integrity? Do you raise your hand when you are needed? And most importantly, did you stand up when given the chance? When someone asked for help, did you stand up? You're a very special class, and I know you will do amazing things. So all I really ask of this class is try not to make the world any worse than it already is. I'm extremely proud of you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Bell. At this time, I'd like to invite Laura Holloway, former SBA president, to the rostrum to deliver remarks. Before Laura gets here, I will tell you that we have been blessed with some incredible student leaders through the years, but there has never been a finer individual, a finer student, a finer leader than Laura Holloway.
Thank you, Dean Abrams. Welcome, family, friends, administration, faculty, and the class of 2020. I hope you are all home safe and staying healthy with your family during this unprecedented time of change. I wish I could be delivering my remarks to you in person, but in this time we must do our part in protecting humanity and keeping us all safe. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers, grandmothers, and sisters in our audience today. We love you and we appreciate you for your guidance during our law school journey. To all of the parents, grandparents, sisters, brothers, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, aunts, uncles, family, friends, and our faculty, The graduates could not have reached this tremendous milestone without your constant love, support, and encouragement. We thank you for being there for us on the days we excelled, the days we failed, and especially the days we wanted to give up. Thank you for encouraging us to persevere, keeping us motivated to reach this day, our graduation day from the Charleston School of Law. When I thought about the theme of our speech a year ago, I thought about the cliché class of 2020, the class with a perfect vision. But to be quite frank, our law school journey has been anything but a perfect vision. After a brutal long orientation week, many of us were eager to start our first day of class, mostly to see if law school was as bad as orientation. For some context, we were at campus from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. learning, and once we came home, we were buried with reading, briefs, and homework that kept us up until 1 a.m. My mother, and I'm sure many other moms, can attest to this. As our first day of law school crept upon us, we received an email from Dean Abrams that our first day of law school would be canceled due to a solar eclipse. Many of us celebrated having another free day before our official law school journey began, but we couldn't help think what an odd way to start our legal education, which perhaps foreshadowed a more peculiar ending to our law school journey than the start. On our third day of our law school journey, another series of unfortunate events unfolded. We were informed there was an active shooter near the vicinity of the law school, and we were going on lockdown. Many of us were sitting at a restaurant below the law school waiting to be served lunch when we received the frightening news that there was a shooter near campus. We went into the hallway and could see Captain Mason at the door rushing students into the building. It was one of the most terrifying situations. Although we had only known our classmates for a week, we held hands and each other to reassure everyone that it was going to be okay. We are safe and we are in this together. I remind you all of these trying times to reassure you we will get through the current pandemic as we always have, together. These events have made us stronger and have prepared us for what we will face in the legal field. From our very first week of school, this thought that we're in this journey together, as cliche as it may seem, has remained constant every single day since we stepped onto campus in August of 2017. Our class has endured 3 hurricanes, familial deaths, illness, apartment fires, car accidents, financial hardship, and the loss of fellow students. But with all of this tragedy surrounding us, the class of 2020 perseveres and will continue to do so in their future endeavors because CSOL taught us how. Perseverance is the true theme of our class. We have a motto at CSOL, Pro Bono Populi, which means for good of the people. The class of 2020 has truly embodied this motto by continuing to serve and advocate for our community and our peers every day while in law school. During the hurricane season, many of you opened your homes to those of us that lived far away. Together, we raised monetary donations and relief items for victims of hurricanes each year for the past 3 years. We raised over $18,000 to a memorial fund to honor fellow Charleston School of Law student Keith J. Williams. When the global crisis struck, our executive leaders of the student organizations met and allowed the Student Bar Association to reclaim funds earlier in the semester from canceled events to benefit the students facing financial hardship at the hands of COVID-19. When faced with adversity, our class overcomes by working together to create solutions to problems, or simply to lend a hand to those in need. Class of 2020, although we've had a few bumps or mountains in the road, we have had many accomplishments. You have survived cold calls, oral arguments, late nights, all-nighters, early mornings, long lectures, learning remotely at the Zoom School of Law, and even Professor Malagrino's Property 1 exam. You have led student organizations in which you've donated gifts, supplies to children of Title and teachers of Title I schools in Charleston during the holiday season each year. You've donated thousands of dollars to nonprofit organizations in the local community, donated over 9,000 pounds of food to the Low Country Food Bank, organized and hosted a coastal and environmental law summit, organized a fashion show which proceeds benefited the National Brain Tumor Society. You have advocated on behalf of the Trial Advocacy Board and the Moot Court Board in competitions across the country. You are a part of Law Review, Resolved, and Malibu, and had articles published or were the student body leaders on Executive Leadership Council or the Student Bar Association. You have clerked for judges, law firms, public defender's office, or the solicitor's office. Some of our class were able to participate in the student practice rule and argue cases before judges on the record this past year. The class of 2020 has contributed over 12,000 hours of free legal service to the community. 33 of those students have completed 100+ hours. I know our class will go on to make a difference in the world because you have already made such an incredible impact in your short 3 years at the Charleston School of Law. During orientation 1L year, Dean Abrams informed us of the Red Toolbox. The Red Toolbox represents our knowledge of the law. At the beginning of our law school journey, the toolbox was empty. But as time progressed, ever so slowly, we would fill that red toolbox with knowledge, skill, and competence of the law. You now know how to think like a lawyer. The day is finally here to take our steps into the legal profession with our toolbox and make an impact on this world. The current state of our nation and the world has left millions unemployed, facing financial hardship, fighting illness, and suffering from mental anguish. We study the law to help people, families, communities, our state, and our nation. They need our help now more than ever due to the pandemic. We must do what we have always done in times of crisis: band together and bear down in our studies for the bar exam so that we can help our country, state, families, and communities. Whatever the world throws our way, hurricanes, a solar eclipse, loss, or even a pandemic, the class of 2020 will persevere and will overcome any challenge as we have done time and time again, swinging back with grit and grace. We will face many challenges as attorneys. When faced with a difficult issue, I urge you to remember our motto, pro bono populi, for the good of people. Our school embodies the generous culture of giving back to the community and commitment to public service. As attorneys, we have the power and responsibility to influence change. Change in our communities, change for our clients, change for our colleagues, and change for our profession. 6 months from now, when you all become attorneys, I challenge you to remember this immense responsibility and remember our school's motto, for the good of the people. Congratulations, class of 2020, we did it.
Graduating class of 2020, you are truly an extraordinary class. We're incredibly proud of each of you. Over the course of your law school careers, you have faced both personal and professional challenges, and it is a tribute to your character, commitment, and courage that you've successfully met all of these challenges head-on and done so with passion, compassion, and grace. We are excited for you and for the people and communities you will serve in the days ahead. Today we recognize at least 3 years of hard work and achievement. This is obviously an incredibly important milestone in your lives, for you've completed your formal education and are now prepared to enter a great and honorable profession. The hoods you don today symbolize that transition. Adorned with the colors of the Charleston School of Law, you leave, and of the profession you will soon enter. Today you become alumni of an institution that is already remarkable, and with your help is destined to be great as well. Today you leave us with the satisfaction of knowing that through your individual and collective efforts, you have had a profound impact on the lives of others and on the life of this law school. Your presence here has made a difference, and we have never been more proud of a group of students. For you've truly exemplified the motto of our law school, pro bono populi, for the good of people. You've each completed your pro bono requirements, and in doing so, your class has contributed over 12,000 hours of free legal service to the community, and you've helped the law school contribute over 475,000 hours of free legal services since our school opened in 2004. Each of you rose to the occasion to help those in need. Your response to the needs of others bodes well for your future and the future of those you will serve. If time permitted, I could easily recognize every one of the members of the class of 2020 for their achievements during their years at the Charleston School of Law. At this time, however, I want to present special recognition to a few individuals who have particularly distinguished themselves. It's my pleasure to present two awards that recognize the outstanding contributions of our students. The William Bennett Regan Award is named in honor of Bill Regan, an outstanding public servant who for many years served the city of Charleston as legal counsel. Selection for this award is based on commitment to public service and leadership. This year's recipient is Rachel Janowski. Congratulations, Rachel. The Arthur Gasquet Howe Trial Advocacy Award is funded by the South Carolina chapter of the American College of Trial Lawyers and is named in honor of one of the premier trial lawyers in South Carolina, Arthur Howe. Mr. Howe practiced law in Charleston for many years and was a respected and revered member of the American College of Trial Lawyers, which is a national organization composed of the top 1% of civil and criminal trial lawyers in each of the 50 states and all of the Canadian provinces. Membership is offered only after a candidate's trial skills, collegiality, and reputation for integrity are thoroughly vetted. The Arthur Howe Award is presented annually to the graduating student who best exemplifies excellence in trial advocacy. This year's recipient of the Arthur Howe Award is Alexis Kovalenko. Congratulations, Alexis. It has been said that the Harvard Law School, which was chartered in 1817, is the oldest law school in America. Professor Eberly on our faculty disputes that, but we'll go with what Harvard is saying, at least for the sake of argument. What you may not know is that only 8 years later, the first law school in the southern states was formed. The Forensic Club was organized in Charleston, South Carolina, and chartered by the South Carolina General Assembly in December 1825. Shortly thereafter, Hugh Swinton Legree delivered the first in a course of law lectures. His lectures became a model for formal legal education in the United States. The Forensic Club, long dormant, lives today as a result of the assignment of this original charter to the Charleston School of Law. With the founding of the Charleston School of Law and the refiling of the charter of the Forensic Club in 2003, the Charleston School of Law has the unique distinction of being both the oldest and the youngest law school in South Carolina. Today we recognize 6 of our graduates as new members of the Charleston School of Law Forensic Club. They have been selected by the president upon the recommendation of the dean and the faculty. Their selection is based on 3 criteria: demonstrated leadership, professionalism, and academic commitment. Each of the individuals selected has abundantly demonstrated and met these requirements. Our newest members of the Forensic Club are Christian Faisal, Kelly Barber, Laura Holloway, Trung Do, Amar Phillips, and Chantel Middleton. Congratulations to each of you. This past December, one of our outstanding 3L students, Kelly Barber, contacted me with a request. Members of the May 2020 graduating class, this graduating class, had asked her to approach the administration and request that this year's graduation have one commencement speaker rather than our traditional array of faculty speakers. A short while later, Kelly met with me to follow up, and our conversation basically ran like this. Kelly, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is your class's request has been granted, and you will only have one commencement speaker. Kelly was thrilled. "Oh, Dean Abrams, that's wonderful news," she exclaimed. "What could possibly be the bad news?" "You're looking at your speaker," I replied. So, graduating class of 2020, life lesson number 1. Unfortunately, sometimes you get what you ask for. And while I would have much preferred to deliver this talk to you in person, life sometimes throws us curveballs, and we have to adjust. This semester, you've already demonstrated your adaptability and resilience, both skills that will serve you well in the days ahead. But you wanted a commencement speaker, so off we go. As most of our students know, I am privileged to be allowed to teach sports law every semester. In fact, I'm sure that out there in cyberspace right now, many of my former students are viewing this talk resplendent in their virtual caps and gowns. As they also know, for every case that we cover in class, I ask the students presenting the case to give us a bumper sticker, a sentence or phrase that summarizes in layman's terms what the case is all about. So when one of my former students learned that I was going to be today's commencement speaker, she stopped me in the hall and asked, "Dean Abrams, what's your bumper sticker going to be?" Turnabout is definitely fair play. So here is my bumper sticker for today's commencement address. Brownies, baseball bats, and being dean of the Charleston School of Law. First, about those brownies. Last year, in an effort to disengage from the computer screen and get out of my office to walk around the campus, I started baking brownies every day or every other day and taking them over to the library to support our most recent graduates who were holed up over there diligently and nervously studying for the bar exam. Our current students began to ask why they were being left out, so I bought a bigger pan and expanded the brownie production, so that now the ritual is that I wander the halls and the library most afternoons asking if anyone needs a brownie today. I suspect out there right now, many of you graduates have needed one of those brownies at one time or another. So let me tell you what I've learned from being the chief brownie baker for the Charleston School of Law. First, little things matter. Something as simple as offering someone a brownie, showing a person that you care about them, can make a difference. Probably not a profound one, but that's okay, because life is largely a continuous series of small interactions, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. But the cumulative effect of those small positive interactions establishes relationships. It reminds us of our common bond, our shared humanity, and it creates a culture of sharing and of caring. The second thing these brownies have taught me is that not everyone likes the same kind of brownie. Not everyone thinks the same or responds the same. And it is this diversity that makes life and baking brownies more rewarding. As much as I love baking crunchy peanut butter brownies for Adrian Satchel, brownies we now affectionately call Adrian's Delights, I would be bored to death if I had to bake them every day. And I'm confident that even the students who like them would quickly grow tired of them. And importantly, it would leave out a whole other group of students because they have nut allergies or simply don't like peanut butter. On the other hand, some of those non-peanut butter students nevertheless adore the peppermint brownies. But if I bake those every day, this would leave out Mark Watkins, whom I have discovered will eat any brownie ever baked, with one exception. Mark cannot abide mint brownies. He may be the only person I've ever seen try to pick out the mint from mint brownies, an impossible task because the brownies are actually baked with mint syrup rather than water. Sorry, Mark. So our commonality brings us together, but it is our diversity of thoughts, of backgrounds, of experiences, and yes, even tastes in brownies that makes us more interesting and that makes us stronger. And the last thing I've learned from my foray into the wonderful world of brownie baking is that the good counsel offered in the Bible is absolutely true. It is better to give than to receive. As much as our students may enjoy those brownies, even as I ruin their diet or obliterate their New Year's resolution, their pleasure in receiving that brownie doesn't begin to match the joy it gives me to bring a smile to a student's face. To show we care, to be able to demonstrate how incredibly gratifying it is for me, for all of us on the faculty and staff, to be given the privilege to be a part of our students' lives here at the Charleston School of Law. And if in some small way those brownies have helped you weather the uncertainty and difficulty of the past several months, then I'm delighted. And if in some greater way those brownies have demonstrated to you how much we care about you and how proud we are of you, then I'm ecstatic. But enough about brownies. I am making myself hungry, and I don't even eat the brownies, actually. I just bake them. What about those baseball bats I included in my bumper sticker? For those who don't know, my office at the law school is not decorated with the usual diplomas or paintings of Charleston or photos of me shaking hands with famous people. And in fact, when I think about it, I don't believe I've ever had any photographs of me shaking hands with famous people. Instead, my shelves are lined with baseball bobblehead dolls. My credenza is covered with pictures of my family. My walls are adorned with sepia-tone photography of old baseball players and several large paintings of my hero, Jackie Robinson, stealing home. And directly behind my desk, hanging on the wall, are 4 baseball bats. And no, despite rumors to the contrary, they are not there to discipline misbehaving students, to motivate intransigent staff, or to inspire unsupportive faculty. Instead, each of those bats reminds me daily of something truly important, both professionally and personally. Important to me, and I would suggest important to all of us gathered here today. The first bat belonged to Jackie Robinson, who, as I mentioned a moment ago, has always been a hero of mine. That bat reminds me of courage. The courage it took when Robinson integrated an all-white Major League Baseball in 1947. The courage it took to endure the venomous racial epithets, the beanballs and the spikings, the hatred from opponents, and the isolation from teammates. And the courage that it took to endure it all, to go against every fiber of his fighter spirit and instead turn the other cheek, because he recognized that this was bigger than baseball. And what he was doing was simply not for himself, but for an entire race. And that fighting back could cripple, if not kill, that effort. That is courage. And even as he achieved this for others, he did so at great personal risk and sacrifice. When Jackie Robinson died prematurely at the age of 53, the Reverend Jesse Jackson delivered Robinson's eulogy. And he made the following observation. Our tombstones will all have two dates, a birth date and a death date. And those two dates are separated by a dash. And it is on that dash where we live our lives, Jackson said. And for everyone, it represents a dash of possibility. Shall we choose the high road or the low road? Shall we dedicate our personal and our professional lives to making things better or to making things worse? And the epitaph on Jackie Robinson's tombstone is actually a quote from his autobiography published shortly before his death. His epitaph is this: a life is not important except in the effect it has on the lives of others. A life is not important except in the effect it has on the lives of others. Now, doesn't that sound remarkably like the motto of this law school, pro bono populi, for the good of people? That is the mission of our law school. And for you graduates, it is now your responsibility. It is now our collective responsibility to impact the lives of others, to act courageously for the good of people. And that second bat is actually related to that first bat of Jackie Robinson's, because this bat belonged to Robinson's teammate and friend, Pee Wee Reese. When Robinson arrived with the Dodgers as a rookie in 1947, the captain of the Dodgers was a veteran all-star shortstop named Pee Wee Reese. Reese was nicknamed the Little Colonel because he was the leader of the Dodgers and he hailed from Louisville, Kentucky. Soon after Robinson joined the Dodgers, the death threats to Robinson began. In fact, one such threat was received by Jackie Robinson immediately before the Dodgers were scheduled to play the Cincinnati Reds in Cincinnati. The note said that if Robinson stepped out on the field, he would be shot and killed. Robinson was given the option of playing or sitting, and not surprisingly, given his character, he elected to play. He also shared this letter with his teammate, Pee Wee Reese, who, being from Louisville, had a large number of family and friends making the short trip from Louisville to Cincinnati to watch Reese play. And many of these same family and friends undoubtedly, and unfortunately, shared the sentiment, if not the prescribed action, expressed in that hateful letter. That afternoon, when Robinson took his position at second base, the booing and the hateful verbal abuse began. It was merciless, and it was all aimed at Jackie Robinson. Without uttering a word, Pee Wee Reese left his customary spot at shortstop, slowly walked over to where Robinson was standing all alone, and Reese casually placed his hand on Robinson's shoulder and began chatting with him, teammate to teammate. The booing stopped. That simple, symbolic act reminds us all of the powerful impact of compassion. As Reese said later, it was no big deal. Jackie was my teammate, and no one should have to endure what he was going through. I don't think I could have done it. And as Robinson said about that moment, of course it made a difference, a huge difference. But that was Pee Wee. That was my friend. That was my captain. That was Pee Wee Reese. Courage and compassion. The third bat on the wall belongs to Minnie Minoso. Honestly, that really was his name, Minnie Minoso. And he was the first Major League Baseball player I ever saw play. When as a wide-eyed 7-year-old, I attended a game with my grandfather between his Baltimore Orioles and Minnie Minoso's Chicago White Sox. I loved the game. I loved the name. I loved Minnie Minoso. In fact, when I turned 50, my wife Karen asked me what I wanted as a present to commemorate this milestone. I told her that I had everything I ever needed or wanted, but she insisted that I come up with something, so I said, okay, I'd like a Minnie Minoso baseball card. An hour later, I was on eBay buying the card for myself, because while my wife has many wonderful skills, shopping on eBay is not one of them. Predictably, once on eBay, I saw no reason to limit myself to just one card, so I decided while I was at it that I would buy a Minnie Minoso baseball card for every year that he had played. This wouldn't have been that extensive or that expensive a quest, except for the fact, as it turned out, Minnie Minoso holds the Major League record for having played in 5 decades. 5 different decades, not including the time he spent playing in his native country of Cuba. So I am now the proud owner of an entire album of Minnie Minoso baseball cards. Now you're probably asking yourself at this point, what does that have to do with that bat on the wall? Well, a few years after I bought those cards, I received a call from the baseball coach at the College of Charleston, who asked me if I would help out a friend of his, Herm Schneider, whose daughter was on campus and was interested in possibly attending the College of Charleston. I was happy to do so because the coach was a friend of mine. So I stopped what I was doing and met the family to give them a campus tour and answer any questions they might have about the school or the city. As it turned out, the coach's friend was, and still is, the head trainer for the Chicago White Sox. And as I showed his daughter and him the campus and surrounding area, I told them the story of my Minnie Minoso baseball card collection. The father smiled and said that although Minnie Minoso was now in his 80s, Minoso still did public relations work for the Chicago White Sox. Well, the tour ended, we said our goodbyes, and I went back to my office and resumed whatever mundane task I had put on hold. And frankly, I didn't think much about that visit until a few months later, when on April the 8th, my birthday, my phone rang and it was Herm Schneider, who said he had someone there who wanted to speak with me. There was a short pause, and in a very thick Cuban accent, Minnie Minoso, my hero, Minnie Minoso, sang to me a slightly off-key Spanglish version of Happy Birthday to You. When Minoso finished the song, such as it was, he handed the phone back to Herm Schneider, who, when he finished laughing, said that there was another present being delivered that day for me. And this is why, behind my desk, is an autographed Minnie Minoso baseball bat. I had done a favor for a friend and had made a new friend in the process. And that new friend had taken the time to find out when my birthday was and to organize both a gift and a serenade for me, to give me the best birthday presents I've probably ever received. Never underestimate the power of friendships. Those you've made before law school, and most particularly those you've made while you were in law school. Cherish those friendships. Nurture those friendships. Who knows? Perhaps someday a childhood hero of yours may sing you happy birthday and send you an autographed baseball bat. And finally, what about that fourth bat? Ironically, this is both the least significant and at the same time the most significant bat of all. The bat itself is actually a very nondescript Joe Medwick model bat from the 1940s. I doubt many of you have ever even heard of Joe Medwick. The bat isn't autographed. It wasn't used by Joe Medwick himself. It was undoubtedly purchased from a local sporting goods store and has no real value even on eBay. But for me, it is the most valuable bat, the most valuable piece of sports memorabilia, and other than my wedding band, it may well be the most cherished item I possess. It is my father's bat. The bat he took with him when, as a young man, he traveled to Mexico to play a summer of semi-pro baseball. Much like you graduates, at the time his entire life lay before him with all its exciting and endless possibilities. And, of course, at the time I wasn't even a twinkle in his eye. Now, there is no great story behind the bat itself. To the best of my knowledge, my father made no significant game-winning hits with that bat. I'm not even sure if he ever got a hit with that bat. In one sense, it is simply just another baseball bat, another piece of shaped wood. And yet that bat has tremendous power and significance. My father died over 40 years ago, but every day, when I come to work, I see that bat hanging on the wall. I think of him. And I think of the impact that my father, that my entire family has had on my life. Every day it reminds me that I would not be, that we would not be who we are, where we are, and what we are without the love and support of our family, of the indelible imprint that our families have had on our lives. At this juncture, were we together in person, I would ask that the families of our graduates stand and be recognized for what they've done to make this day possible for you, the incredible students here at the Charleston School of Law. I'll do so now in the hope that many of them are watching this ceremony with you graduates right now. They deserve our recognition. They deserve our gratitude. And lastly, my family would have also been with us today to celebrate my final graduation ceremony as dean. Or maybe they were planning to come just to make sure I didn't change my mind. Either way, indulge me this one personal moment, please, while I recognize my family. My brother Doug and his wife Peggy, my sister Lisa and her husband Ray, my sister Joyce, my mother Diddy, my incredible daughter Courtney and her partner Caroline, my amazing son Alex, and most importantly, my moral compass, my best friend, my wife and life partner of 48 years, Karen, without whom I would never be here today for many reasons. Not the least of which being that she put me through law school twice. A fact that she mentions occasionally just to make certain that I haven't forgotten her pivotal role in all of this. Brownies to connect us, and 4 bats to inspire us and instruct us on the power of courage, on the power of compassion, on the power of friendship, and on the power of family. So, in conclusion, and by the way, I now say that at the end of all my speeches because my family and friends tell me that when I say in conclusion, it gives the audience hope. So in conclusion, we have that final, and I promise, the shortest piece of that bumper sticker, being Dean of the Charleston School of Law. I can think of no more gratifying career, no more rewarding experience, and no greater honor than to have been allowed to serve you in our law school for the past 12 years. And for you graduates, if I have but one wish for you, it is that you find a career that brings you the same incredible sense of satisfaction and of purpose that being your dean has provided me. In the words of Jackie Robinson, to be given the opportunity to live a life where we can affect the lives of others. In the words of Reverend Jackson, to be given the opportunity to write on that dash a lifetime of making a difference in the lives of the people and the communities we serve. And finally, in the words contained in the motto of the Charleston School of Law, to be blessed with the opportunity to dedicate ourselves to act pro bono populi for the good of people. It has been my great honor, whether in person or online, to be your commencement speaker. And it has been my greatest honor to have been given the opportunity to have been your dean. Thank you. We now come to that part of the ceremony where the Charleston School of Law confers its highest recognition upon our students. After all, that is the reason why we're here today. At this time, I will ask that Margaret Lawton, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, join me at the podium for the presentation of the graduates.
Would the candidates for degrees please rise? Dean Abrams. All candidates who stand before me and others who cannot be present, but whose achievement is being recorded officially by the Charleston School of Law, having completed the requirements for the degree Juris Doctor, are herewith recommended by the faculty of the School of Law for the conferral of their degrees. Would members of the graduating class please come forward and be recognized?
Melissa Michelle Adorno. Charles Graves Anthony III. Andrew Michael Antonucci. Kristen Elizabeth Ash. Carl Lee Baker, Jr. Derek Michael Banov. Kelly Elizabeth McCall Barber. John Paul Baum. Dominique Donnell Marquise Best. Brittany Lane Biggs. Catherine Gale Blackburn. Zachary Angelo Blasetti. Michael Joseph Bognar. Beverly Danielle Bolliard. Brenton Blake Bird. Elizabeth Cabe. Anna Maria Christina Callis. Alexandra Marie Carlson. Olivia Marie Carrico. Alicia Clinton Carvajal. Maeve Jefferson Bakani Kayabyab. Alexandra Florentina Shitu. William Cole Collier. Caitlin Mackenzie Cornwell. John Francis Cuddy, Sr. Thomas James Curry. Paul Joseph Dana. Salvatore Giancarlo Davi. Cassidy Geneva Davidson. Matthew Ryan Davis. David Nicholas DeHart. Kristen Paige Dial. Shannon Marie Dillahay. Trong Doi Do. Bridget Nicole Dudding. Jessica Lynn Duffy. Kyle Edward Etherly. Frank Henry Eberling IV. William Joseph Edwards. Brianna Ray Ellenberger. Emery Ursoy. Natalia Janelle Falcone. Christian Michael Faisal. Harrison Jones Flynn. Emily Caroline Ford. Joshua Caleb Ford. Erica Norma Fowler. Jeremiah Sean Freeman. Laney Winter Frost. Chelsea Nicole Fry. Gabrielle Nicole Gabriel. Emily Anna Gates. David Christopher Gentry. Lydia Nicole Givens. Claire Daly Goodwin. Michael Grabara. Stefan Smoot Graff. Justine Brooke Graves. Calvin Reginald Green III. Rebecca Suzanne Green. Gabrielle Dan Grimmett. Isaac Grossweiler. Allison Emma Elizabeth Gutperlet. Patrick Samuel Gutschall. Chandler James Hammond. James Cole Hancock. Rebecca Lee Haney. Charles Wesley Harkness. Margaret Spillinger Harris. Iman Elise Hart. Michelle Nicole Hart. Daniel G. Hayes. Joshua Ryan Hankey. Andrew Sean Hepner. Jewel Patricia Herford. Whitney Lace Higginbottom. Stephen Chauncey Hippolyte Phillip. Laura Ellen Holloway. Robert Perry Howell. Connor Jeffrey Hoy. Rihanna Houston. Rachel Huddleston Janowski. Kane. Caitlin Hunter Kolustian. Christopher Douglas Kays. Kevin Jeffrey Kegaris. Alongcorn Cam Cam. Matthew Bradley King. Alexis Victoria Kovalenko Vasilian. Stephen William Kreisky. William LaSalle III. Andrew Joseph Lavin. Nicole Ann Leahy. Lindsay Jane LaHue. Delaney Jane Mason. Edward James McAlpine III. Tyler Reed McCallan. Megan Emily McGovern. Melissa Catherine McKenzie. Haley Marie McKnight. David Richard McNeely. Chantel M. Middleton. David Scott Miller. Margaret Lanier Miller. Gregory Anthony Mistakawi. Haley Christine Mitchell. Michael Andrew Monastra. Gage Evan Montgomery. Stephen Daniel Mott. Stephen Matthew Murdaugh. Jessica Socorro Nelson. Rebecca Lynn Nicolella. Timothy Harold Nicolette. Nicole Marie Palumbo. Vishal Justin Patel. Joshua Wilmore Patterson. Anna Michelle Payne. Tracel Ramona Peace Nichols. Michaela Zena Nicole Peterson. Ridge Anthony Phelps. Amar Jawan Phillips. Sean Johnson Pike. Caitlin Marie Plosica. Anissa Latrice Proctor. Jonathan Dwayne Rice. Bradley Kevin Riley. Francis Joseph Rizzo, Jr. William Deaton Rossi. Ashley Nicole Rummel. Jade Alexandra Sabin. Kelsey Elizabeth Santa. Patrick Ryan Sarsfield. Adrian Zanetta Satchel. Latara A. Sari. Nathaniel D. Scrippa. Leah Rochelle Sewell. Eva Colette Schillander. Wonkel Shingles. Samuel Christopher Sjogren. Lauren Haley Silverstein. Maria Skirmo. David Snyder. Jeremy Joseph Snyder. Victoria Claire Sutherland. Tiffany Michelle Spry. Lauren Moran Stickdorn. John D. Stone. Lindsay Keenan Suggs. Olivia Drew Sullenberger. Liam Cullen Michael Sullivan. Lauren Jane Taylor. Haley Renee Teagarden. Caleb Ashley Sherman Thompson. Chloe Latrice Thornton. Hannah Adele Tipton. Joseph Reed Tulloch. Christy Nicole Eurisha. John J. Van Wagner III. Armin Vasudeva. Irina Elena Vaught. Rebecca Neal Wade. Lisa Marie Walden. Youngjung Yun Waller. Mark Christopher Watkins, Jr. Mackenzie Paige Watson. Corey Andrew Weatherholt. Samantha Jo Wiedauer. Stuart Michael West. Jason Randall White. Forrest Craig Wilkerson III. Myron Savon Williams. Neil Patrick Williams.
By virtue of the authority vested in the Charleston School of Law by the South Carolina Commission on Higher Education and the American Bar Association, and on the recommendation of the faculty, the Charleston School of Law confers upon each of you the degree of Juris Doctor, together with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. Members of the class of 2020, again, congratulations. You know, if I have one regret about the fact that today's commencement ceremony had to be held online instead of in person, it's that I couldn't give each of you a handshake and a hug as your name was called and you walked across that stage. To be able to look you directly in the eye, to express to you how proud we are of you, to tell you how excited we are for you, to let you know that however much we may have impacted your lives, you have impacted ours even more. For as this last leg of your journey ends today, a new, incredibly exciting one, filled with all of its wonderful, endless possibilities, begins. It is time, and you are ready. So as you leave us today, know that you do so with our absolute confidence, with our utmost respect, and with our deepest affection. Good luck and Godspeed to each of you.